Okay. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us live this evening. And if you are listening to the recording, thank you for joining us. I would like to welcome you to our first self-care symposium. We'll be holding one every Sunday evening at 1 p.m. PST, which is 11 p.m. GMT2, and for our UK listeners, 9 p.m. So you can calibrate your life with us. I am Natalie Clack, holistic health life coach from Johannesburg, South Africa, JustBE Coaching Company. I will be your moderator for Minglap University this evening. Tonight, we are going to activate your zone of genius through self-care. I want to thank our sponsor for tonight, Style and Substance Group. You can find out more about them at www.styleandsubstancegroup.com. They guide and support you, their client, through the complex process of selling and investing in property within the greater Los Angeles area. Tonight, our experts will advise you on how to unlock the power of your own potential through self-care to create great change in the world. So tonight, I would like to welcome you to our experts. We have Andrea Gewirtz. She is the founder of Wellbeing and Worth, Health and Wealth Thrive strategist, certified functional nutrition counselor, certified master practitioner of NLP, and area director of Team Referral Network. Thank you for joining us tonight, Andrea.
Thank you.
Then we have Elam, founder of Be Yourself Every Day, joy trainer, educator, motivational speaker, and energy producer. Welcome, Yo.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And then Tyson Sharpe, last but not least, host of Awaken Your Business podcast, leader of the Serving Circle, spiritual business coach, meditator, sports fan, and dance floor enthusiast. And if you don't watch out, we'll make him do that dance floor enthusiast tonight. So please welcome to the floor, Andrea Gewirtz, Yo Elam, and Tyson Sharpe, our panelists for this evening.
Hey, everybody. Thank you.
So tonight, we are going to activate your zone of genius through self-care. And I'm going to start with Andrea. Andrea, why is understanding your self-care so important?
Oh, I love this question because of so many reasons. In self-care or understanding yourself is a lifelong process. So, taking it on as like your mission in life is actually one of the things I encourage my clients to do, because when you know thyself, so to speak, it's so much easier to interact with people out in the world. It's better to show up as your authentic self. It is easier to manifest everything that you want. And I know we're looking at it through the lens of self-care, but I want to say that it's care of self is really nurturing what makes you run, what makes you go, what brings you joy, how do you spread that joy. So understanding how you do all of those things for yourself just helps you be the brightest light you can be out in the world. And then you can serve and show up as your unique, wonderful self.
That's awesome, Andrea. I like that. Shining your light to the world. And Yo, tell us, why is understanding your self-care so important?
Well, the reason why it's so important for me is because you are the common denominator in every aspect of your life. You are the person you wake up with, you're the person you go to sleep with, you're the person you go to work with, you're the person that you always do everything else with. So to understand you is how you provide the energy and the substance and everything else that you do. The you is very important. And once you start to look into the you and knowing the you and believing and supporting and encouraging and doing all the good stuff for the you, all those things trickle off into everything else you do. I love how that rhymes. Know the you and see how it affects all that you do. Oh, mic drop on that one.
I'd say go Yo.
So good at that.
All about living with yourself, right?
Be yourself.
And over to you, Tyson. Why is understanding your self-care so important?
Does everything I need to say need a rhyme now?
You can try.
Yo? I ain't gonna try. No, I ain't trying. But I think what is important when you understand how you give your life energy. I remember my first ever Tony Robbins event. We're talking about all the different values of that we live by, and he showed on the board the values that he had when he was 20 and compared to now. And it's very easy for us to all put, our ambitions for our relationships, for our ambitions for career, finances, all those different things. But as you guys have highlighted, if we don't have the energy and we don't have fuel in the fuel tank, it doesn't matter where you want the car to go. You don't have the fuel. And so he highlighted his values now. Health is the number one, because he knows that if I'm healthy, if I'm doing self-care, then everything else benefits. Like Yo said, everything else benefits. It's kind of like when you play self-care first, you now know the rules of the game. But if you neglect your self-care and you don't feel energized, you don't feel vital, you don't feel healthy, it's kind of just trying to play a sport. You don't really know the rules. You're just neglecting the things that matter most. And so by placing yourself as the priority, placing yourself and that time on your calendar in the form of self-care, that's really where things move forward, and you start to say, oh, all other areas of my life will benefit because of that.
Absolutely. I like that you have to say. It's all about creating that foundation that's strong inside yourself, so that where you're moving from is secure, strong, powerful, and energized. I like that, guys. Okay, so tell me, Andrea, how can our guests activate their zone of genius by focusing on their self-care?
Well, following what Yo and Tyson just said about that first insistence on preservation of self with your health, making that decision, that choice to make you this masterpiece. Tyson alluded to, people put up there, oh, for my family, this, that, and the other thing. And it is often shocking when people are doing their values, their actual self is like not in the top 3, not in the top 5. You're like, whoa, step back. Like, hold on, we've got some work to do, because if you're not in that top 1, 2, 3 position, the way I look at it and like sort of help my clients is that it is so hard to turn on the engine, right? Activating means, yes, I am going to focus on my health. And we're in this worldwide question mark about health right now, aren't we? Like, we're in this moment where the most valuable currency is a strong immune system. Like, your currency right now is having an immune system that's like, I don't want to play with you. And if I do, it's only gonna be for this long, right? And as opposed to, oh my God, I got vanquished, like, one of those crazy video games, you can't get back up. So, sitting there and insisting that you are so valuable, that you are going to put this energy inside of you, like Tyson said, is the ultimate expression of what? Self-love, right? It's the ultimate expression of love, so that you can love another. So how do you do it? Well, you've got to make a decision to do it, because we're not necessarily taught to do it where we live, depending on your cultural background. So the choice comes before, I like to say it's too late, but that's me being the scary health person. So I'm like, do it now, please. While you can make the changes, and you can exercise and live in this healthy vehicle. And it's, I think all 3 of us really encourage people to choose themselves for the sake of self. So I love being on this panel with these smart people. So,
Me too.
And I keep going first because I have an A name. I think Tyson should go first. The last round, by the way.
Well,
That means
thank
I
you
always
for
go last.
that.
I'm good with the alphabet. So that means I'm last every time. So go for it. I can be like, well, what else
I'm
is
like,
like
and we'll go to Andrea. I'm like, A names. Anyway, I'm teasing, but I'm not, because I'm always like first when you have an A name. So a little sensitive. Silly.
Yeah, when the teachers always pick you first, you say, hey, feel picked on.
There's A. Andrea. Oh. Anyway, well,
Anyway, I
thank you,
like what you were
Natalie.
saying. It makes a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, if you want to be in service, which is what we're actually here for, no matter what it is our job is, you have to start from that center yourself personally, strong and powerful. So tell me, Tyson, since we'll pick you next, how can our guests activate their zone of genius by focusing on self-care?
Well, what I found when I prioritize self-care, when I prioritize what I eat, my meditation, all these other, I've got probably 10 to 12 little health things I do throughout the day. You just get so clear. You just get so clear. A lot of people are focusing, especially in the, in the world of entrepreneurship, the question always goes in the back of your mind around, what should I be doing? Or what's my calling? Or what do I need to be doing next? And we're just always trying to gain clarity around our best step forward. What I find, a lot of those decisions are made basically from a place of panic and fear and scarcity, because we don't want to make the wrong decision. And, we don't want to go broke. We don't want to look bad online and be judged and all those different things. But it's very hard for a clear answer to come through when you're not prioritizing the self-care, self-love. Once you place it as your priority and it's up there on your list of values, you just have so much insight and so much, things become so clear around what feels towards your heart, what is guiding you to next. So if I meditate for a long time, it just flows through me. And anyone who meditates for a long time will do so as well. When you calm the mind, you start to be in a space of, heartfelt energy. You just get a calling around what to do next. And so by prioritizing yourself, by getting still, getting silent, nurturing yourself, your zone of genius flows through you. It's not something you got to find outside you. It flows through you, and it's a natural part of life when you have that priority in place. People can try it. Sit in silence for an hour, see all the pain, confusion, frustration that comes up, and as it leaves, I dare you to see what's on the other side. It'll be a lot more clarity to do with your mission, that's for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I love those tips. Tell us, Yo, how can our guests activate their zone of genius by focusing on self-care?
I'm gonna bring this home. Like, I love the way Andrea said, first realize that yourself is important. And then Tyson's like, make yourself a priority. Sit in silence until it comes up for you. And I'm going to use the key word in that question, and activate. You need to do something. It's one thing to realize it. It's one thing to own up to it. It's another thing to take the action and make a step. Like, figure out what it is you want to do. Figure out what kind of things move you to get you to move. Don't get stuck into comparison and imposter syndrome and thinking you have to be like everybody else. What is healthy to you? The key factor being you. For some people, they might be hitting a gym 5 days a week. Some people, they might be sitting in silence 2 hours a day. Somebody else, it might be just taking a step of reading a good book about self-development, but do something to activate yourself and find out what your zone is in that zone of genius, because it's not going to be the same as everybody else's. It's unique to you. So find out what that is, take that next step towards that, and keep taking steps and keep activating. So you'll have that nice active life that looks good for you.
That's awesome. That sounds to me like a life calibrator right next to those. Thank you.
Yes.
All of you. Okay, so we're going to put Tyson on the stand this time. Tell me, what is one tip that you can give our audience to activate their zone of genius through self-care?
One thing that I found extremely helpful is just put things on the calendar. Just put things on the calendar. It's one thing to sort of prioritize. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If it's not on the calendar, you don't make it a reality. It's not necessarily something that you can follow through on. So if you do have in your calendar to meditate, to go to the gym, to eat a certain thing, to go for your walk, to do your personal development, studies, you can plan something from a place of real consciousness to say, okay, in this coming week, this is what I'm going to do. And you put everything on there that has your values in mind, so that you're not going through your day just reactive to to the crazy things that life can throw at you. And if it's on the calendar, you can say, you know what, this is when I'm going to do it. You put it as a time and a date. And as soon as it comes around, you're like, that's my priority to myself. Everything else is secondary. I'm prioritizing myself. It's in the calendar. As soon as that time comes around, I'm doing my meditation, gym, walking, spirituality, whatever you're doing next. I just think that is such a way that you can organize from a very conscious place, prioritize, and then, as Yo's saying, the action piece is going to be in place. So calendar up, everyone.
Okay, so if it goes into your calendar, basically you have to stamp that you are going to follow through on it. It's not just going to go past you, you're going to do something else. I've got a little quick question here. If I can't sit still, how do I get into the meditation?
How long do we have?
I know, both Tyson and
I have an idea.
I got an idea. Tyson.
All right, let's start with Tyson and then bounce across to the next lady.
All right, cool. So everyone knows I meditate about 2 hours a day, and I just sit in silence. And everyone's like, how the hell do you do that? And one of the things that I realized is that when you sit in silence, there's nothing you can't hold space for. So a lot of people will sit in silence and they're like, and then they'll tell me, no, I could only do 15 minutes or 20 minutes. I'm like, why? What came up? Whether it was something urgent in your life or emails or an emotion you didn't want to see or a belief or whatever it may be, there's nothing that comes up in your meditation that you can't simply observe and hold space for. And the fact, the more you hold space for it, the more it will subside. So when I sit in meditation and I have this thought or this belief that says, oh, you got to reply to emails or else you're going to disappoint people. If I stop my meditation and I go to reply to emails, I'll be replying to the emails from the consciousness and vibration of needing someone's approval or not disappointing people. However, the more I meditate, the more I realize, hey, I don't have to do any of those things from a place of I need approval or I'm disappointing people, whatever it may be. And so I can allow that uncomfortable feeling of disappointment or sadness or guilt to be there. And as I hold it in my body, it starts to dissipate, it starts to leave. And then if I do decide to reply to emails, it won't be from the consciousness of I need approval, I don't want to disappoint people. It'll be really from my heart. So then that would be my question. I call it expanding the bubble. If you're sitting in silence and there's a lot of things coming up, you expand your awareness to hold space for that, hold space for that, hold space for that, hold space for that. And you just simply observe, hold space for whatever's coming up. And I can guarantee you, who and what you are is so much bigger than anything that comes up in your meditation. That's what I recommend.
Okay, and I reckon that takes us right back to that calendar slot. You gave yourself that hour to meditate and nothing else must come into that space. You will have your slot for the email reply. Okay, so tell me, Andrea, answer the question with regards to the meditation and we can move to Yo after that and then we'll move to the panel again.
And then, so meditation, I adore meditation and I had to seek it out because I have what I call the monkey mind. It's always going. It's like, there is the monkey zoo in my head. So you can't maybe sit still. I couldn't keep my thoughts still. And that was starting to affect me, right? Like when I finally made the decision, get back to that decision, I was like, okay, the monkey mind's can stop because I'm not getting enough things done. I saw it interrupting my life and things like that. And I went to a practice known as Vedic Meditation, where it's perfect for a person like me who was like, there's so many thoughts. And to Tyson's point, I do mine in 20 minutes a day because as a mother, finding 2 hours, I'm so envious, Tyson, that you get to sit in quiet for 2 hours a day. They're just, those pockets don't exist. So really this Vedic meditation came into my life in my search. I was like, I'm learning to meditate. It was like a 2020 resolution. I was like, and I went online and I said, I'm just go to all the different schools and I'm going to find one. Like that was and I had it in my calendar, to Tyson's point, because I just had too many emotions and I had too many things coming up for me that I could not clear. You know, my kids, my schedule, la, 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 la. I didn't even talk fast. So you can imagine the unconscious mind of mine is loud and it's, and oh my goodness. So I'm going to encourage you to sit for 5 minutes, increase the timer to 10 minutes, increase the timer to 20 minutes. I had to grow into my 20 minutes 2 times a day. I look forward to them now. They are in my calendar in case I decide to answer that email. I'm like, nope, it's in my calendar. Probably everybody on this call is a calendar freak because we know the value. Time expands when you allow time to do everything you want to do. Period. It seems as if you have more time because you actually wrote it down. And so as someone who's lived in both No's calendar, the calendar, I will tell you, I'm like, oh, a day is beautiful when it's written down, in my opinion. And so I would encourage you, if meditation is what you want, try different ones, experiment, see what really goes into fitting with your body, your personality, and things like that. Tyson's exactly right, is that when these things come up in my practice of meditation, you just let them come up. You go, oh, there they are. Well, you know, and it takes the charge out of whatever you're putting them emotionally, right? And then your body's like, thank you. Because, you know, you're really doing meditation to help your autonomic nervous system, if people want to get technical. And it is important to relax our nervous systems so that we are not always in flight and fight. Instead, we're in a very restful, and meditation is studied to be there for the rest and digest part of your nervous system. So I encourage you to do it. 5 minutes is better than 0 minutes, and you'll just build up time. And I love my meditation practice, and I'm grateful for those breaks in my day to calm the mind, to actually, I like to say, erase. Okay, this is really what's left over for me to do. So.
Absolutely, I hear you. I think those are very valid points. You know, for a mother myself, single parenting predominantly, I found that meditation is an awesome thing to do, and I normally do it in the evening. But if you have a partner, then that's also a bit of a challenge because they also want their time. But I like to fall asleep to a meditation. It helps with insomnia for sure. Tell me, Yo, what would you say you need to do if you can't sit still? How do you get into meditation?
I'm going to actually share an idea that I got from Monica when I first started on the woo-woo journey. And I was like, I cannot sit still. My brain, like Andrea, you got monkeys, I got gorillas. Like they just woo-woo pounding on each other. So I was going in my head. And so I was like, what can I do to get into the meditation practice when I can't sit still? So question, she gave me the idea of doodling while I meditate. Like there's different types, to Andrew's point, there's different forms of meditation. And so I have found the way when I practice it is to put on some headphones, put on some music that doesn't have any words to it. So I'm not distracted by the words. Therefore, my thoughts are distracted by the words, and just let my pencil do what it does, or let my colors do it without any intention, without any expectation. And if something downloads, jot it down to reference back because that's what was coming up. So it helps me a lot because I am scatterbrained and I just go. So to be able to say, like, I'm meditating, I'm sitting in silence, but I'm also producing, by just letting that pencil and pen and colors do what they do. So I would find the meditation practice that works for you and then roll with it. I like that one. Because I know I'm still doing something, but I like it. Question.
Absolutely. I love that. With meditation, I found that meditation is always a big concept that we feel we have to try and attain a state of meditation using a specific practice. But meditation is in fact just sitting with your feet in the pool, moving your little feet around, say walking down the beach. Meditation is literally just getting into the state and connecting to nature, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question. We have somebody that has kids, a business, and a husband that all need my time. I need to clone myself in order to get it all done. How do you find the motivation to take care of me? Let's start with Tyson this time.
I find that whenever someone has a reason they can't do something, it's often the reason why they need to, right? It's when we have this, if you're passionate about obviously your kids, your husband, your business, that's exactly why you need to take care of yourself and do some self-care. I think within this is a good, it's good to sort of understand what self-care means to you. To me, if I'm doing my self-care, I'm doing the best for my business. I'm doing the best for my family, my loved ones, my soul tribe. I'm doing the best. That's why when I prioritize, as soon as I started prioritizing my self-care, everything else, all the other areas started expanding. And so I think when we have the things that we're passionate about, it really does pay dividends to say, okay, when I look after myself, all those areas expand. And even a simple fact with other people, that you're setting an example. So if we're living our life where we have certain things that we prioritize, like I look after everyone else, or I put my business first, I put my finances first, and I don't look after me, everyone else around us, especially those, you know, who are observing our actions, take on those patterns as well. And they say, oh, even if it's unconscious, they say, oh, I need to prioritize these things. And often if I prioritize those things instead of me, it's coming from a place of scarcity. It's coming from a place of fear of saying, oh my God, all this needs to be okay, so then I can be okay. And what's a really cool thing is when you prioritize yourself, you set that example for your kids, for your family, for your audience to say, hey, you're number one. Because as you're number one, everyone else gets to be their number one, because then they start prioritizing themselves and they can bring out their zone of genius. Like we talked earlier, they can start prioritizing getting clarity in terms of their, you know, what they're here to do in the world, and everything else starts to expand. So that's my simple reframe. Generally, someone's reasons why they can't are often, not all the time, but often the exact reasons why they must. And I think when you do that, things start to really fall in place, and everyone else will thank you for it.
It makes a lot of sense. Yo, what's your answer to that? How do you find a motivation to take care of me?
Ain't nothing else left to say. Tyson said everything. He took all the juicy stuff. I was sitting there going like, do you ask to go next? I ain't got nothing to say. What Tyson said. The only thing I would add is it's okay to be selfish. I think a lot of times we get wrapped up in ourselves thinking that, oh, but if I think about me first, these people are more important, business is more important, husband is more important. But it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to think about you and put you first. And like he said, to his point, and as I said earlier, when you focus on you, all other things also fall in the line and get the benefit from you being your best self. So be selfish, you know, put all about you. That's why it's so funny. Even though yo is like my nickname, yo also means I in Spanish, and it's so on point. I am so about me. Yo, be yo, make it all about you.
It makes sense. And, you know, funnily enough, it might be selfish, but you're actually thinking of the others that you're serving.
Yes.
You know? So selfishness is really where you're doing things wrong to others, whereas looking after yourself isn't really a selfish experience in the sense of negativity to others, is it? And you, Andrea, what do you have to say with regards to that?
I'm going to try to add to what these two brilliant people just said. But as a mom, this person's obviously a mom, or maybe they have a husband, so I'm sorry. You are in a partnership with these two kids that you're trying to raise. And I think a lot of times the parental figure that is busy taking care of the kids and taking care of a business forgets, to Tyson's point, that one, you're doing this, probably you're going to say your why is your kids and your why is this and your family. Have you ever stopped, and this is where it's a gnarly kind of reframe, and say, and if I'm not here, how am I serving them? If you're not taking care of you, you know, like if you have chosen to say, I'm less important, you're modeling to your kids the same behavior, and to your spouse, and probably to the people in your workplace, to Tyson's point. And so it isn't selfish. It is self-preserving to sit here and to say, I exist and I'm important. And that is the primary motivation I hope you can glean from this. But then the ancillary parts are, And because I'm taking this time and setting these boundaries and explaining to my family, because I had to do this, like to my kids, to my husband, I'm like, this is my time to do this. Do not disturb. These are these things. I must do this to recharge so I can be a good mom and get to your class and do this thing over here and be here for my clients. Because if my tank is empty and they have seen it go to empty, they are now like, oh, mom better take care of herself. Because that's when they realize, oh, shoot, dang, things are broke around here. Because ostensibly you probably are holding so many balls in the air. And so it is so important for you to go, my sleep is a priority, what I eat is a priority, what I think about, what I visualize, it's all a priority, because you are really, like I say, putting in all the best fuel to be your best self. So I hope somewhere in there, between me, Tyson, and Yo, you can see you are so valuable to these people, to your business, to your spouse. And because you are so valuable, it is essential that you invest in this pursuit of being here for as long as you can be, and as wonderfully as you can be. So
that's awesome. I'd like to talk to that extra point with regards to the fact that what happens if you don't look after yourself, then it's chronic fatigue syndrome. You can even end up in hospital. And then who's going to be there to help the children and get them to school and feed them? And it's really imperative. Tell us, Tyson, what was it you wanted to pop in there?
Yeah, I mean, as Andrew's explaining this, the analogy that came up for me is the apple tree. And I love the analogy of the apple tree. The apple tree is, let's say, I'll sort of modify it to this example of what Andrea is saying. But when let's say our effort and putting out everything in our life, so our business or prioritizing, creating effort for our kids or our family, let's say that you're an apple tree, and let's say the effort is the apples. Now, a lot of people just focus on the apples, and they say, oh, I need to do this in my life, do that in my life, do this in my life, and I need to create this and create that. And they get obsessed about the apples, forgetting they're an apple tree. So let's say in this random example that the more you focus on apples, the less apples you produce. So the more you focus on, creating things in your life and being like, oh my God, and you're obsessing about the outcomes, you're obsessing about what you can do for, your family, your business, your kids, whatever, then you may produce those apples, but you also forget that you're an apple tree that can produce apples time and time and time again. I use the same analogy with money, where everyone obsesses about money, and when they obsess about money, think about that being obsessed about the apple, but you forget you are the source of every dollar you've ever made. You're the source. Your creativity, your love, your playfulness, your resourcefulness is the source of every dollar you've ever made. So don't obsess about the money, obsess about you. Obsess that you're not only producing apples, you're the apple tree that produces apples time and time and time and time again when you remember that. So going back to this analogy of what Andrea is saying beautifully is that when you sit in your self-care practice, you remind yourself, I'm the apple tree. The beauty that's flowing through me produces apples time and time and time again, effortlessly, because it's who and what I am. So imagine that who and what you are produces income, clients, inspiration, health, ideas, like everything that's coming through you does so effortlessly when you remind yourself that you're the apple tree, you're not the apples. That's what I got.
Awesome. I like that. Thanks, Tyson. Okay, let's get us back to our last two ladies for tips. Tell us, Yo, you can go first. One tip, can you give our audience to activate their zone of genius through self-care?
One tip I would give you is realize that self-care, like anything else that is important, is a journey. There's a destination. It's a lifestyle that you're starting. So choose step by step by step by step. I'll give you an example of working out. as I've told my clients before, like some people decide they want to get to a workout regimen or a healthy lifestyle, and they immediately go from 0 to 1,000. And they're thinking, I'm gonna get up 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna go work out an hour a day, 5 days a week. And all of a sudden Tuesday comes and you didn't go work out. It's like, failure. So how about baby steps? Set an alarm clock for 5 a.m. and just put your shoes on and get your ass back in the bed if you want to. But you took a step. And then the next day, you get shoes on and you walk around the house for 5 minutes. And then you go get ready for work. And the next day you put shoes on, you walk around the house. And so just build upon momentum. Don't over exude yourself. Don't overwhelm yourself, and just realize it is a journey, because it's a lifestyle that you're choosing to care about yourself. It's not something you're going to arrive about. So find a step, take it, and just keep taking more steps. And just don't stop walking. It's a lifestyle.
That's awesome, Yo. So I'm going to put my tackies on. That's a start. Tell us, Andrea, give us one tip that you can give our audience to activate their zone of genius through self-care.
Okay, so my two compadres have talked about calendaring, which, yes. And, that one step at a time, so important, because people start every kind of health thing. And that's why by February, everyone's off their diets. And I don't use that word. Everyone has fallen off the wagon and beating themselves up because they didn't stick with it, because they just went all in without the preparation time to have the body go, oh, I like this, to keep doing it. So I am going to say that with these two things, add the component of I am creating my masterpiece. It's almost like a affirmation. I wish I could put it into one tip, but it's really create the vehicle that's you by putting the boundaries and telling the world that I matter. If you have to tell yourself this every day, or it's an affirmation on your mirror, I matter and I brush my teeth. I matter and I'm going to go work out. I matter and I have a calendar. So that, to me, is that one decision will make you do all of these steps so beautifully, and you're going to have this beautiful orchestration known as you. So it's the I matter, and really dig into that I matter, and therefore I do this. I matter, therefore I do that. Maybe it's journaling, but use I matter, and it makes everything so much easier to get done when you put it that way.
I love that. That's awesome. Thank you to our panelists for all of their input and their information. I think that our audience can move forward in a very strong life calibrating sense. Having activated their zone of genius with all of your tips, I think it's great. Thank you very much. I hope they had as much fun as we did tonight. And please note that there are a number of lectures and courses and being held by Mink Life University tomorrow. We can always throw Tyson in for one last tip.
Oh man, I thought my tip was the calendar.
It was the calendar.
Yeah, he went before the question.
Right, we got the questions. We were already there. We were like, oh, that's like extemporaneous. Like, let's answer.
No problem. Are we going to open the floor to some questions and answers?
Do we have more questions?
Let's just double check.
Okay.
Monica can let us know.
Okay.
All right, there are no more questions and answers. Thank you to our panelists then. It was really awesome having you guys here. So thank you very much to Andrea Gewirtz, Tyson Sharpe, and Yo Elam for the expertise to activate your zone of genius through self-care tonight. Thank you very much. All right, so on to our number of lectures and courses being held by Mink Life University tomorrow. Please, will you join Irina Strunina? She will be teaching you how calibrating your life and business starts with you. We'll be discussing how your self-care contributes to your personal success and your business growth. We'll focus on practical ways that you can think clearer, be more productive, and be more present in your life. This will be offered at 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. in PT time, which is 7 p.m. or 3 a.m. GMT +2 for our SA listeners, and 3 p.m. or 1 a.m. for UK. We also have a Clean Decisions, the starting point of every good thing, and that will be Andrea Gewirtz, and she will be on between 10 and 11 a.m. PT, which is 8 to 9 p.m. in SA and 6 to 7 p.m. in the UK. Here she will be having a look at how you describe yourself mentally. She often works with people who are ready to no longer live with disease due to the lack of agency over their own lives. She helps people to activate their zone of genius by leading clients on an exploration of food and healthy weight management designed to heal the body and release unwanted pounds and the decisions that stand in the way of a vibrantly healthy and fulfilled life. So we will discuss the mindset that has the power to unlock your physical and emotional healing. She'll be teaching you how to thrive because transformational health results begin with internal changes via external actions. These tools will enable you to truly take control of your well-being so you can step into your feeling your very best. Thank you, Andrea. Please join her tomorrow. Also from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. PT, we will have a Be Aware of Your Own Body, BYOB, by Yo Be Yourself Every Day. So please will you join her? It will be 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. PT, which is 9 to 10 p.m. in South Africa and 7 to 8 p.m. in the UK. So she will activate the zone of genius for women 40 plus who are stressed, overwhelmed, mentally drained, and don't look, act, or know it yet, by taking them on a joy discovery journey, equipping them with tools to ground, trust, empower, affirm, inspire, love, and know themselves so they may live authentically every day. So in this symposium lecture, we will have a discussion on the essence of your physical body, how to connect, move, and expand with and within it. By attending the session, you'll start connecting to your body, moving your body, expanding yourself through your body. So this lecture is 1 hour, and all who purchase this lecture will receive the playbacks via email. And members of Mink Life University will have access to this as well. So thank you, Yo. We look forward to that. And then we will have, last but not least, thriving in business as a spiritual entrepreneur. So this will be at 1 p.m. PT, which is 11 p.m. GMT +2, which is SA, and 9 p.m. in UK. And this will be with Tyson Sharpe. So the question for many spiritual entrepreneurs is, how do I build a business that's both profitable and aligned with my soul's calling? This is the main question we will discuss in this lecture, including how to find your calling, overcome the emotional journey, and market yourself without feeling sleazy. So thank you, Tyson. We look forward to that tomorrow. And please remember to dial in same time, same place tomorrow evening, so you can join Christopher Hampton, who will be moderating our business roundtable discussion. We'd like to thank our sponsors for tonight, Style and Substance Group. They guide and support you through their client. They guide and support you, their client, through the complex process of selling and investing in property within the greater Los Angeles area. You can find them on www.styleandsubstancegroup.com. And with that, I am Natalie Clack from JustBE Coaching Company in Johannesburg, Africa, moderator of tonight's Mink Life Calibrator Self-Care Symposium. I'd like to leave you with a quote by Monica Henderson, the president of Mink Life University. Your life will never be the same, no matter what you do. So thank you for joining us live or listening to this recording, and please join us again tomorrow. Now is the time to activate your zone of genius. Thank you for joining us.